Today we're talking about foundations. Let's recap the last few shows that we had. First show was basically how to get all your information together to start a project, get a budget, and then we went on to selecting the professional to help you with your design needs or design build needs, depending on which direction you want it to take. And now today we are going to get in the ground, as it were. We're going to start the production of the project. And so we brought John in today because John has done a lot of excavating and foundation work and has seen a lot of different things out there, and his expertise is probably very important to you folks who have never done it before. So if you have any questions or you're about to dig out there and start your project, the radio station here.
This is a great time to call.
Yeah, call in 651-1110. Give us a shout and give John a shout because he is the Mr. Knowledge today, and he is the expert in the field, and we are going to have him talk to us about the process of how does it start, John. Say we're ready to do an addition, we've stripped the house back, and everything's prepped, and now we're going to start digging for the foundation. Where do we go? How does it work?
Well, first off, if you're doing it yourself, if you hired a contractor, you're general contracting, it all depends. First and foremost, the most important thing, whether you're in New York or New Jersey, is to get a dig number. And if you're doing it yourself, you'd be calling the proper numbers in your area. And I'm not sure about New Jersey, but New York is they have certain numbers to call. And once you do that, then you're ready to go. Then you go to your town and you get your permits, and after you excavate, in this area is 42 to 48 inches.
John, let me ask you a question. Who are you calling really to get a number?
Yeah, the dig number. What is the dig number? Explain that.
Call before you dig.
Yeah, Earl knows that one. I knew Earl was going to come in with that
Earl
one.
understands this.
Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the number actually on air.
No, it's not the number. I mean, what kind of person?
The process. Like what?
Who are we calling? Are we calling the town? Are we calling
you're calling
utilities?
It's actually a utilities commission that has hired this company, and what they do is they call that number there will call and notify the following people: utility companies, cable companies, different types of telephone companies, anything that services that individual area.
So that's one point of contact.
So everything that's under the ground that you got to worry about with that one phone call, that covers most of it?
Absolutely.
That's good.
Okay, so the dig number keeps you legal at that point.
Right. Legal beagle, yeah.
Legal beagle.
And they then come out and they mark the property with flags and
they
so
mark
forth.
the property.
Any underground utilities or anything in the way.
They call the town. They call the town up because there's town water, and what happens then is a very important thing to do is not just get the mark out on the street. If you're digging, like say you mentioned earlier about like a side renovation, you need to get the property marked out too. Now this doesn't cover sometimes like a local cable company, your dog fence. There's no way of tracking that type of stuff. But for the most part, sometimes you have a propane company that's not. Sometimes people put these tanks in the ground, don't even know about them. So you do have to be careful with that. But for the most part, people that are doing the additions will know what these things are. But your basic utilities and...
Excellent.
Things that go boom.
Things that go boom in the day or the night. Earl, we know about that. So what would you do? How would you, if you were going to start a job, you dig very slowly, I guess, so you get through the first 2 or 3 feet. As you're digging alongside the house.
I got a question. Go back to that number one more time before we pass
the dig number.
Yeah, when you make that phone call, are they aware of what other things are in the ground, or is that your responsibility? Who really knows? I mean, you're in an existing house. I mean, do you know what's under the ground? Do you have an idea? I mean, how do you know?
Well, that's a very good question. Sometimes you can look at pre-existing. You could see on the street where things come into your house. So you go into your basement if you do have a basement. And you could look in the areas and you could say, okay, well, my gas is coming out here, and I know where the gas is coming on the street. So they're going to use the quickest point to get there. Sometimes your water line might not be the same line as your gas line, then
I would think it would be different lines altogether.
Absolutely, and sometimes even when you go into this, you get your water lines and you get your septic, and this area is prone to septic.
When you go back to that number, because that's the thing that they have to remember before you dig. You got to make a call.
Right.
And you're talking to utilities. Do they have an idea what goes on, or do you have to come up with a plot plan? Do you have to investigate it, or are they really informed at that point what was previously there on the property?
What they do at that point is they call the fellow companies, and they come out, and the onus is on them at that point.
Okay, that's good to know.
And they come out and they mark out the property. They do that, and they give you a confirmation number, which is very important to take down. whether you're an excavator or
Homeowner.
homeowner, like, it's very important, guys, to take and gals, to take that number down, that confirmation number. And if you give them a fax number, they will fax you that. And what this leaves you is a paper trail to cover yourself.
In case.
Yeah.
Does
In
that
case
also go on the
anything
window
happens.
with those red dot permit things?
Well, if you're getting red dots, that's not a good sign.
A
You want
flag
the
gun.
orange ones. Yeah,
The
orange or
orange,
green.
ah.
Greens go,
Yeah,
Greens
greens
go.
go, right.
Yeah, so, what you want really is you want to cover yourself. So furnish them with a fax number. Furnish them, get the confirmation number once you make that call. And what that does is covers yourself. I mean, heck, I remember once I was on a job, and this was in Jersey, and it was new construction, and we had the mark out. The mark out was 20 feet offline, and we hit a water main. We hit a water main. We had to shut down, half that neighborhood. And, we were covered.
That's
we were
good.
Covered.
That's
yeah,
good.
We were covered, and, it just was like, wow, not our fault.
Now, okay, now whose fault how does that work? I
Well,
mean,
that what had happened was this. This was an old line, old ductile line, and it was the
Hold
town.
on, John, a second. Rich is yelling from the booth. We got a call coming in. Afternoon, this is the ABCs of Home Improvement. You're talking to Mike. Can I help you?
Yeah, hi. My question is, are you prepared for my question?
I don't know the question.
yeah, who
yet.
is this and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Tom, and I'm calling from the Wallkill area. I'm on my cell phone.
Excellent. Hello, Tom. Okay, go ahead. Ask a question.
My wife and I have recently decided on putting an addition onto our home, and we've settled on, what we want square footage-wise. We've gotten the permits, and we've had an architect do a drawing. However, the actual retaining a contractor is a little bit overwhelming to us. How many bids should we really get, and what should we do at that point in time? How would we decipher which bid is legitimate, and how would we move forward after that?
We're going to let Earl handle that one. Earl, what do you think?
Okay, Tom. Well, there's 100 ways to answer that question, but we're only going to go with one. That's Earl's answer,
All right.
and that is, you're putting an addition on your home. First call, American Design and Build, as one of your bidders. 845-283-6763, because we'd like to be in on that project. Let's say it's a 2-story bump out. You're bumping out the kitchen on the first floor and your master bedroom on the second floor. And you're going to add a nice big master bedroom, bathroom, and walk-in closet for your wife. Big kitchen. Okay, let's say that your bids, you're going to invite 3 bidders. That's what most people do. You're going to have a low bidder, you're going to have a medium bidder, and you're going to have a high bidder.
All right, makes sense.
At American Design and Build, we're never the low bidder.
That's right.
It's silly, and I'm going to tell you why. The project sounds like $100,000. So you got one person in at $100,000. That's the third place bidder. That's the high bidder. You got a second place bidder in at about $95,000, and you've got the number one bidder, $80,000. Okay, now
That's
I'd read.
20%.
That's a big
Yeah,
difference.
I would red flag that immediately.
Yeah.
And that's why we say throw out the low bidder. And I'm going to tell you why. The bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of low price.
Very good, Earl.
Okay? How you
That's
like that
right.
one?
I like that one. I like
How about
that
chewing on
response.
that one there, Tom from
That's
Walk
it.
Hill?
Yeah, Tom, what do you think of that?
No, I appreciate your advice. I'm going to share that with my wife, and we'll keep you updated on what's going on.
Yeah, good.
I appreciate all that information.
All right, don't go yet. I'll tell you when to hang up. I got
right.
one more for you. I want to quote John Ruskin. And this one I want you to record and remember.
Okay.
The common law of business balance prohibits paying a little and getting a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
It can't be done. If you
point.
deal with the lowest bidder, it is well to add something for the risk you run. And if you do that, you will have enough to pay for something better. John Ruskin, everybody.
Very good, Earl. Unbelievable.
Thank you.
Unbelievable.
Thank
Hey,
Earl,
Tom, what
on
do you think
point.
of that, huh? So the ABCs of Home Improvement does come up with some good stuff. You didn't know that Earl had it in him. How about that?
No, I've been satisfied. Thank you. That was great.
Excellent. Thanks for
again.
the call.
Thanks for the call, Tom.
All right, ciao.
Okay, now back to our guest host, John Sebastian from Sebastian Construction. Okay, now back to our guest host, John Sebastian from Sebastian Construction, and we're talking today about our main topic is getting in the ground. Getting in the ground, we'll talk about soil conditions and footings and foundations and start going up from there.
I guess where I was at earlier was they had no way detecting it with Ramsey at the time. I guess it was the township that we were in, and there was no metal and it was all clay pipe, and it was just one of those things that happened. But when you're looking into a project, you do have those your conditions, and not to go off on a tangent on that, but if you're looking into foundations and footings and whatnot, you have to look at what you want to do, and how you want to look at it is the way your setting is, whether it's going to be an exposed foundation, whether it's going to be a foundation that you want a basement or you want a slab. So these are all different areas that you need to look into.
Nice. John, have you, let's just get back to this foundation. Ever had an opportunity to start an addition off of an old stone foundation? Anything like that?
Absolutely. I got to tell you what, I love stone foundations.
So because up in this location where we're broadcasting and some of the listening area, a lot of the houses were built in a time when cinder block or masonry block was not there. They were made out of stone, out of rubble that came out of the ground as they were digging the basement. And you'd have to tie a new foundation into that. So what do you suggest, John? What things have you done just in that vernacular?
Being in the business and actually owning property I actually have some properties presently that have stone foundations. And what we have done, first off, to A, waterproof, B, solidify, C, to work off of, whether it's a Bilco door in one of my projects and to cut into them. I know that realtors actually sometimes even have problems selling houses
with the
with stone foundations because of cracks and whatnot. But what we've often done with foundations like that, there's products, sealers that you can buy, and everything is. There's just so much new technology going on right now.
All right, John, we're going to pause for a minute here to take a break, and then we'll come back and continue talking about the stone foundations. The ABCs of Home Improvement, sponsored by American Design and Build, and our guest sponsor today, Sebastian Construction.
The ABCs of Home Improvement will be right back in a moment.
And we're back again with the ABCs. Rich is yelling from the booth. We got a phone call coming in. Hello, this is Mike on the ABCs of Home Improvement. Can we help you?
Hello, this is Jana Courier. I'm a local realtor in Orange County, and I have a question about stone foundations.
Oh, there you go, John. Go ahead.
Oh, bingo. Hi, how are you, John?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Okay, and what company are you with?
I'm with Coldwell Banker Courier and Leisure Realtors here in
Excellent.
Orange County.
Okay, great. Glad to have you aboard.
Question is, I have occasion to work with clients who are purchasing older homes with stone foundations, being in this area, especially the Warwick area. We often observe cracks in the foundations, which really raises a red flag to the buyer, and my first-time home buyers are the most jittery. What can be done to correct the problem and ease their concerns? Can they be corrected, these cracks in the older foundations?
That's great. It's a perfect phone call because we were just talking about that before you called.
I heard that.
Oh, great.
I'm listening.
That's why. Okay, good. Well, first off and foremost, there's no reason for a red flag. So you need to put your client at ease. There's different areas that you could look at to remedy these problems. If you could attack, as we call it, attack it from the outside, that's great. That's what we like to do first. What we like to do is dig down to the outside, the exterior of the foundation, and try to remedy the problem from that point.
John, now with the stone foundation, when you're digging down, this is not for the person that's inexperienced, a machine operator, because a lot of it doesn't have to be hand dug. Or go ahead.
Lee, excellent. And yes, many times it does have to be hand dug. I mean, heck, I just picked up a little excavator that is no bigger than a shovel. I mean, it's tiny,
That's nice.
and it's great to have for these little tough to do jobs. But a simple manual help is fine too. If you don't have that option to attack it from the outside, we do plenty of interior remediations. And what I mean by that, your first name again is?
Jana.
Jana. Is to assess the problem, clean, and one of the most important things we do is we try to clean at Sebastian Construction is we try to look at the cracks, clean them. And I mean by clean them is we wire brush, air, chisel out, actually make the crack even actually bigger and sometimes than it is.
To a clean, fresh surface, right, of the
yes,
material.
yes.
Right?
And at that
For
point,
hearing reasons.
Yeah.
and that point, we wire brush it at that point, and then there's different sealants, epoxies that we use. Sometimes a simple grout and mortar is what we use, and it's not just the cracks that we're looking to seal there. We're looking into actually look into any other reasons for that, and most of the time it's not. It's just a simple application of mortar sealing, and it's more of an aesthetic thing. Now you can't blame Mother Nature for shifting foundations over years, and it's no reason for anyone to quote unquote put the red flag up, but it is a concern. I understand for first time home buyers, but with the older homes, you're going to get that, and I mean the old homes, and it's going to be a labor of love, quite frankly.
There's no water penetrating through there, you're in good shape. If you have a moisture problem that's occurring in that crack, now you have a little different situation. So, as a realtor, obviously, if you're going to bring that, if that point is brought up, there's a little different application that can be done where they actually inject the crack with epoxies, and it can be sealed as long as it's a minor, water condition. Right. If it's a major water condition, then you got to get to the outside, no matter what.
When you walk the property, when you look at the property, you also have to look at the leader lines where most of these older homes, they're not tied into a seepage pit. Another thing that we've done, actually, the older stone foundations that I have, and I'm an antique buff, so I love the older homes and I love everything about them, is waterproofing.
Right.
At that
That's
point.
a big one.
Yeah, Jana, yeah, exactly. The number one enemy of a home is water. And it starts down by the foundation.
Right.
And the leaders, the downspouts, get the water away from the home. It's not good enough just to have downspouts and they drop the water, all the water from your roof that your gutters have collected, to drop the water right up against your foundation.
Right. And
Okay, let's get that water, let's move it 10, 12, 15 feet out, away from the house, away from that foundation. And again, water coming into a foundation or cracks in an old stone foundation, especially in this area.
Freezing and thawing.
These are old, beautiful homes, and if it's got a couple of cracks, you know what? That's okay. It's
part of the archaeology of the building, right, Earl?
Right.
I have a question in terms of the type of crack. Does it matter if it's a vertical crack or a horizontal crack?
Another good question.
That's a great one.
That's a great question. She's good. She's good. Been around. You guys been in business a while?
Over 40 years.
40 years. God bless. Anyway, to answer that question, vertical cracks seem usually on a stone foundation are cracks caused by settling, as opposed to the horizontal cracks are caused by settling. The vertical cracks, and excuse me, it's my first time on the air, are caused many times for shifting. Those are the two. Okay. Again, they're not a problems. We've sat there, and at that point, if there's a settling problem, what we do is we address the problem from the top. We don't really go into raising the footings or the foundation, but what we'll do is we'll support the sill plates, and many of the times those will be those are sill plates on those older homes, as you know. Another question, even though we're talking about footings and foundation, not to go off on a tangent, is footings is the sill plates, which many times have dry rot or termite damage, and what we do is we'll fish up another sill plate there, jack up the joist and raise it up there. But to really address the problems and concerns of your call today, Jana, is the cracks, and please tell your clients it's not a problem. Actually, tell them to call me.
Right, there you go.
What's
That's
your
right,
number,
John.
John?
Give the number out
What's
there.
your number?
Okay, it's Sebastian Construction at 201-934-4055. And there's plenty of guys in the area, and whether it's
You do have to watch that horizontal crack, though.
Yeah.
I mean, because that could be just a little bit of the undermining of the footing, or something's happening down below. It's creating a shift, and that horizontal crack is something of a little concern, depending on what's causing it. It could be water or something undermining, or a footing that wasn't there. It might be settlement somewhere. So what John suggests is actually propping the building up and supporting it first, and then starting to do your investigation.
Great
But-
question.
Okay.
I
Thanks for the
appreciate it.
call.
Thank you very much, and good luck.
All right, so we're going to get back to the old stone foundations. Well, I think we went through that pretty well, John. That was excellent.
That worked
that
out great.
That was phenomenal.
That was a great
It was
phone
little
call.
ESP.
That was a great phone call.
Good question. Right on the top. Right on
What's
the
up,
subject.
Rich?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we got to take another break there. So the ABCs of Home Improvement is going to be right back with John Sebastian,
And the
Stone
magic-
Foundations.
How about the magic box?
Oh, wait, we're gone. Are we gone yet? Okay, we got. When we come back, we have the magic hat here. We'll talk about the magic hat when we return.
The ABCs of Home Improvement will be right back in a moment. Give them a call at 845-651-1110 to discuss all your needs and questions on the show.
Hi, we're back again with the ABCs of Home Improvement. I'm Mike Ash, supplier of kitchens, and the other guest today is John Sebastian, and Rich from the studio, from the other room is telling me we have a phone call. Go ahead. Hello.
Hello, Mike.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Hey, Steve. How are you?
It's Uncle Steve, the roaming renovator. Here we are.
How you doing, Steve?
Steve, you're on the air. You're here with Earl and Big John and Mike. What's going on? What's
All right.
Where you working today?
We're up here in beautiful Woodstock, New York.
Oh, nice day with the
nice
weather.
Whirlpool bath for a
Whirlpool
lovely couple.
bath.
Oh, very nice. So this is Steve, the renovation specialist, huh?
That's Steve,
Uncle Steve,
yeah.
why don't you throw your number out to the folks out there in the Woodstock area that might be looking for something?
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be 845-831-7609.
Oh, there you go. The
So what are you
renovation
doing
man.
today to make somebody happy?
Just say yes.
Just say yes. We like that, Uncle Steve. All right.
Do
Now
what
you
they want.
listen. They're going to be calling. We had a few calls already in at the show here. They're going to be calling down to you now. That's it. With that, just say yes. Very good.
You guys are the experts.
Well, listen, Steve. While we got you here, we got the magic hat that we brought into the studio for the first time, and we want to let the folks out there in Radio Land know what that's about. So what we have here is the company is changing over its office. Arca Future is changing over its office, and you are now the third call. So the fourth and fifth callers are eligible for our free giveaways. We're giving away a Sony answering service here and a Sony Handycam, an 8mm Handycam. Both both used, both of
I
them
might
being.
have to call back.
Hey, now you got it. Both of them. You
Just
get,
say no.
Just say no. Earl's looking at the Sony Handycam here himself. He wants to take that home with him for his next home improvement project. So we got that in the magic hat. We're going to do that every week while we're on the air. Get you folks jingling up the phone lines here, and you can pick up this stuff at the station. So we're going to take the next two callers to call in. You get these as is, whatever it is, Sony answering service and the Sony 8mm Handycam for 4 and 5. So,
I guess you're remodeling in your place, huh?
Yeah, we've got to make room for the new technology. So this
I hear
is,
you.
one step back.
Steve, good luck on the bathroom. Thanks for calling.
Take care.
All
Bye,
right,
guys.
take it easy.
That's great.
Yeah, that's good. Good
All right,
thing.
so let's get back to getting in the ground here, right? We were on our stone foundations, and we were just talking briefly about different circumstances there. But let's say we're ready, we're prepped, we're ready to start scraping the ground now. What happens, John? Go ahead.
Well, we at that point we have our inspections in which we need to talk to the local authorities about that, and they usually come down in this area. The frost line, and maybe you can correct me, Earl, it might be 42 inches.
That is what they're looking for.
Yeah, 42 inches. I don't know if you guys know, I actually taught high school.
Oh, see that? John's giving a little bit up on the air here.
Yeah,
It's a
it
little
gets
confessional here in the booth.
And I didn't do that because I didn't want my clients to know that
Nice.
I was
I
doing
won't tell
double
anybody,
dipping.
Nice.
I did that for 12 years, and I actually taught construction technology, teaching kids how to build homes.
Oh, excellent.
And
John.
it's I guess you could say it's sort of like your New York BOCES here, your BOCES program you have here in New York State. But to get back to what you're saying, your town official would come, a building inspector, and sometimes it's not the actual building inspector, but just an inspector from the town, and he would look and measure and see if the ground is stable. I know that's one of the questions, and see if there's anything going on, and making sure the footing is wide enough. Some footings don't require any forms, others do, depending on the application. Most footings are 24 inches wide by 1 foot deep. Some require, if you're going into an existing footing, to be pinned, and that means is you would drill out the existing footing and put rebar, different types of rebar. I think this is the rebars to pin the one into the new footing.
Pin,
Okay.
attach. It means attach.
Okay, and it's sort of like a dowel, drilling a hole into a piece of wood and putting a dowel in it and to attach it to another piece of wood. And that's
Sounds like an
just
interlocking
try to,
system.
like an analogy, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you here, and or an example. And at that point, once the footing is poured, then the
Are all,
block works.
let me ask you something. I don't know about footings really. Are they always concrete?
Yeah, as far as
Nowadays
that's a
they
great
are.
question.
Nowadays.
Nowadays they have to be
Heck,
concrete.
matter of fact, there's usually they would like to have a 3,500 per square inch the footing, the strength of the concrete. But that's just to quickly go over. There's actually pre-formed footings and foundation walls now. I
Right.
mean, they're just. I mean, there's so much stuff going on. And it's been going on for years, and I was thinking about doing that. I think, Lee, didn't you mention that to me?
Superior, and we're going to throw this out. If Superior Walls is listening, we're coming after you as a sponsor. But Superior Walls does not need a footing. What they do, Superior Walls is a plank system that's put up vertically, precast, and it's epoxied together at the seams. And what they do is they set those in gravel, and the gravel bed is the footing. You need about 1.5 feet or 2 feet of gravel underneath this system, and then they pack the gravel around it before they put the slab in. And they tie it with the rebar, like you said, into some of the sections to get the slab tied into the walls, and that holds it together without a footing.
Absolutely, and a lot of times you would do a system like that if you're sometimes maybe in an urban area where you want to build the project quickly. If you're in an area that
A zero lot line condition where you're right up
tight,
against another building.
you're in tight conditions, like you said. Another area, if you're doing a tremendous amount of projects, modulars, or these are areas that are doing it. But for the most part, if you're doing, you wouldn't be doing that type of application if you're doing, let's say, a remodeling, and if you're doing new construction, especially high-end construction, that is not an area that is I guess it's maybe sort of frowned upon. But for other applications, it works. It works.
There is a system, Mike, that we used over in Tenafly on a project we were doing, and they're actually, instead of forming out the footing, and what that means is that the footing is formed with either a 2x12 or some sort of lumber material on the sides to create the edges where you're going to hold the concrete in. The system we used was plastic. It was a plastic bag. It was a 10 mil plastic bag footing design, where the bag had a plastic piece up on top where you set the concrete into the plastic, and the plastic was the form. And we had a rough time with the building inspector getting that approved, but it was approved in New Jersey, and we had the number, and we did 10 houses like that. Now,
Are they still up?
yeah, they're still up, and well, the form comes off. Okay, when you pour the concrete footing, the form comes off on the wood. So you're removing the wood when the concrete's done. The plastic stays in place.
Sure, you pop it.
Right, you have to make sure. Well, I was there for the pours, and my concern was that it was going to blow out. Obviously, the blowout means you're going to lose the concrete while you're pouring it into the form. That's why they use wood and they stake it, and, because the concrete, even though it's fluid, it has a very high density, and what it does is it's going to push its way out, and the weight of the material itself could actually, you would think, blow out the plastic bag, but it didn't. It was designed with a mesh in there. It's got a little interweaving mesh,
Right.
and it was much cheaper than forming it. So if you're looking at doing 20 units and you got to have the labor to come down and form out those footings and materials. This is stays in place.
You know,
Thanks for that, balloon boy. But let's get back to real wood form on the footings.
Well,
and
you know
let's
what?
go
Listen,
from there.
I got to
I
tell you.
appreciate that. That was an aside.
You know what? I got to tell you. You know, you got a lot of old school building inspectors that
They've never seen it.
They'll drag it until you do it, and it's great that you stayed on your foundation there, and you got it. But you know what? I tell you, there's so many great new things, products out there.
Right,
but,
exactly.
But I tell you, I do, especially in remodeling. I'm a wood guy, you know.
And the homeowner is wants to see something that they know, and that is what they know. The wood formed footing is what they see when they go to anybody's project. So it's nothing new, and they're not exposed to trying to digest some of the new information and new materials.
But getting back to, so we pour it. After we pour it, now we start with our block. With block, or we actually pour. Now, many foundations nowadays are poured foundations, and that's just a great system to use. And many renovations and rehabs, and Earl, please interrupt if it's anything here.
That's what I do best.
But I mean, you're basically using block now. Is that what you're using on your renovations? And
No, well, both. And what we see a lot now is the wooden forms for poured foundations and the aluminum forms.
Yeah, right.
So what about these styrofoam forms that they have that you use these as blocks and you fill them with concrete like Legos, and that becomes your insulated foundation wall.
How old are your kids, Lee? You keep
Somebody-
going back to Legos.
Somebody
I'm gonna
unplug him.
All right, I'm going to just educate the consumer
Hey,
out
you know
there with
what?
some other opportunities.
Hey, Lee, you know what? God bless you. You're on the cutting edge, and that's what you.
I
That's
mean,
why you're
that's
here.
all,
You know,
that's
that's
all.
why you're here. You need to.
As the architect, I need to inject some of the cutting edge things that are coming across the desk.
Absolutely.
And give the homeowner an opportunity to at least understand what it is, and then we go back to old traditional
Absolutely.
ways.
That's good, Lee. And it's always good you're thinking out of the box. On the same token, we have to. Okay.
All right, Earl. Earl's reaching across here, and that's it.
All right. All right, but we block.
All right, so we're back to the
it up.
block. Let's go to the block.
We're blocking up, and we run our courses, which is one layer of block across whatever part of the footing you have, and usually, and people listen out there. Spend the money for the extra block. Spend the money for the extra course. Get that high basement.
Yes.
Very, very important. I didn't want to go for the extra block. I'm not going to finish my basement anyway. No. Please, biggest mistake I see out there is just the 8-foot or 7'6" basements. Go the extra 2 courses. Make it a full high basement. You know what? Because these basements aren't basements anymore. They're living space with sheetrock ceilings and sheetrock walls. And you know what? You might not want it, but you know what? Money well spent. Raise the extra 2 courses
If you
of
don't
block.
do it now, Johnny, you'll never do it.
And great for resale, even if you're down in the future.
Absolutely. And really, hey, listen, if I'm not living here, if I was to leave tomorrow, what would what would someone else want? So please spend the money for the extra 2 courses,
Just get it
extra
back.
course, and
Just
you'll
get
get
it
it
back,
back in the long run.
Right. It's my understanding that the reason why we do basements here in the Northeast is because you mentioned the 42-inch frost line.
Right.
Because elsewhere in the country, down south, you don't need to build a basement.
Right.
Because you could just do a crawl space or on slab, on grade.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The reason why we do basements here in the Northeast is because we have that 42-inch frost
We
line.
have to dig
excavate
anyway.
anyway.
You know what?
So
I'm
you might as
sorry.
well-
I'm going to have to interrupt you here. The reason why we do basements in the Northeast because you have a lot of Italians. That's why.
Hey, all right. Now you're talking, John.
You gotta
That's
keep
it.
the money flowing.
That's
You know,
right.
you
They
gotta
used to
have
be
that-
the wine cellars. Now, so we're gonna have a place down there.
the downstairs
You know,
kitchens.
That's it. Exactly right.
I mean, I
Exactly
remember
right.
as a kid growing up. I mean, we had the downstairs kitchen.
That's
You
right.
got to have it.
That's
you
where
know?
all the good things were made. That's where
And-
Grandma Dolly was
and
doing her
John
thing.
brings out a great point. If you've got to go down 42 inches for your footings anyway for your building, your addition, your home.
Right.
Okay, you might as well go down 9 feet, 10 feet, and so that you have the area to finish in the future.
Right,
for a
square
nice
footage.
finished basement.
Very inexpensive square footage when you're doing a home improvement.
Absolutely.
And-
It's there.
and
It's
it's
there.
there,
It's
so.
there. It's there. So please remember the extra courses. Okay. The
Right.
extra
But now
courses.
do it.
Now we touched on it last week. Was doing the egress. Now, when you're doing your basement, we're digging out the foundation. While we're doing that, we have to think about windows and maybe doors that are coming out. If you're gonna have a walkout basement or just getting light in, there is a requirement to have a certain amount of light and ventilation in all basements. What are your experiences with that, John?
You know what? Depending on the topography, and what the topography is the lay of the land. I try to build it up where the front of the house might be 2 levels, the back might be 3. In that case, you would have what is called the walkout basement.
Excellent.
And the walkout basement, hey, again, great idea to have your extra course, because now you're actually having a basement with sliders, possibly walkout basement with a couple egress windows. And even though it's not living space per se, it's
Not
living
right
space.
now. It will be, though.
It's living space.
Okay,
So-
listen, we're going to go out on a break now. I just want to mention the magic hat, the 2 items that are up here for the next 2 callers, the Sony 8mm camera and the Sony answering service here from the old offices and world headquarters of Arca Future.
Hey,
Okay, we're
run out
in.
that number.
And the number to call up the station, 651-1110. Give us a shout and let us know if you're interested in these items from the magic hat.
The ABCs of Home Improvement will be right back in a moment. Give them a call at 845-651-1110 to discuss all your needs and questions on the show.
Resnick's Mattress Factory Direct. Manufacturers of mattresses, we sell them at the best prices you can find. We've been manufacturing mattresses in New York State since 1938. That's right. Hi, this is Justin Resnick from Resnick's Mattress Factory Direct. We have a factory in Newburgh, and our company has been manufacturing mattresses since 1938 in New York State. Come on in and check us out. You'll be glad you did. Where are the stores? Here are the stores. Middletown, Route 211, just past Wendy's and next to Dunkin' Donuts. Kingston, Ulster Avenue, just below the Hudson Valley Mall, next to McDonald's. Newburgh, Route 32, North Plank Road, Price Chopper Mall. Hey, Space Cadets, look at our website, resnicksmattress.com, or call 1-800, the number 4, and the letters RESNIC, and leave the K off. Who knows why? Did I say why? No K.
Oh, Charlie, you got your new Subaru.
Yep.
From Fetters Subaru, right?
Yep.
And you got a great price?
Yep.
And it's all-wheel drive?
Yep.
And I saw they had 0% financing?
Yep.
Wow, Charlie, a new Subaru from Fetters?
Yep.
Oh, man, can I drive it?
Nope.
What?
Get your own new Subaru from Fetters Subaru and get a great price. And now 0% financing's available up to 24 months at Fetters Subaru on Dawson Avenue in Middletown.
It's always better at Fetters.
Look good with quality men's and women's apparel from Viking Jackets and Athletic Wear. They are the authority for custom manufactured embroidery and design logos on hats, jackets, jerseys, you name it, they'll design it for you. Sports uniforms, custom-made t-shirts, and always a quick turnaround. Special discounts for schools. Mention WTBQ and you'll receive an additional 10% discount on your first order. That's Viking Jackets and Athletic Wear, 327 Windsor Highway in New Windsor, New York. Call 561-5360. That's 561-5360.
If you own a business or provide a service and are looking to get results for your advertising dollar, give WTBQ Radio a call today at 651-1110.
That's radio.
I'm Marguerite Dunn, your urban herbalist. Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. Please join us. We talk about the medicinal use of herbs, all the shenanigans in the alternative health industry. Join us. AM 1110 WTBQ.
He's Mr. Orange County.
Hi, this is John Moultrie. Are you looking for something different every afternoon? Well, join Rich Ball and myself at 4 o'clock Monday through Fridays right here on AM 1110 WTBQ.
WTBQ.
Hey, we're back again. The
Mic'd up.
ABCs of Home Improvement. We've got our special guest this afternoon, Sebastian Contracting, who's helping us with the excavation and the foundation. And we're now got a few more minutes left, so we're going to try to indicate what else is left to do other than dig a hole.
Oh, we're digging the hole. We're past the hole. We got the footings in, Mike.
That's good.
Earl's been there talking us through. John's been there telling us
We've
about
had
how we
the
got the
inspectors
block.
come by already.
Inspectors, and I guess we got the block walls up, and we're ready to go from there. Where do we go there, John? Where do we go next?
Okay, well, the block walls are up, and now we're at our finishing stage. Usually after the block wall's up, what we like to do is we like to get our perimeter drains, or our footing drains in. And what that is around the footing, okay? We clean that area up, and we run a perforated pipe, 4-inch pipe, around the entire project, or around the entire foundation of the house, okay? Alongside, no higher than the actual footing. We put the perforated pipe in, and that area will be, draining off to either a seepage pit or an area lower than you actually have of the footing. a lot of times it has to be a seepage pit. And we would cover that with the 3/4 inch clean gravel. Okay. And after that, now we're looking to parge the foundation. What I mean by parge the foundation is putting a damp proofing. All it is plaster, guys. It's
finishing
plaster.
coat, John? Would you consider
it's
that?
a finishing coat. And what it is usually it's a 2 or 3 coat process, and maybe a scratch coat or 2, depending on the thickness that you wanted here, of a very fine cement, and it's just like plaster. You put 2 coats on, sometimes even a third. Okay, and then what that helps is that'll help stop the bleeding through, just in case it is a block wall. Sometimes you see, like the actual, when it's damp out, you'll actually see the blocks,
absorbing some of the moisture,
and you see where the joints are. This stops that. It's an aesthetic thing, to boot. And at that point, we would use a tar-like substance to roll on the areas that are going to be buried on the footing and foundation. And what I mean by that is areas that the top part of your foundation will not be exposed to the ground. Okay, and we damp proof that. We usually 2 coats of a tar-like emulsion, and we roll that on. And actually, a lot of times what we do is after we put that on, we actually insulate that. And there's like a 1-inch foam that we actually stick right on there.
Yes.
And that really helps that a lot.
You need a certain R value sometimes, and that's
and
good.
it's a great thing to do. When people says, well, I don't want to do that, I'm not going to see it. But boy, I got to tell you, especially nowadays with the people using their basements, it is money well spent.
And isn't it? It's also another vapor barrier, so it is another moisture stopper before it even gets to the bituminous.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now you have your 1-inch foam, even 1.5-inch foam. You have your tar. You have your 2 or 3 coats of plaster. Now you have your wall. Good shape, guys. You're in good shape here. You're
three lines of defense they always taught you in school for water penetration. You always have to have 3 different ways to get the water, to relieve the water up against the surface, and so you have that there with the foam. Very inexpensive, well worthwhile. Just remember that, folks, when you're doing your home improvement projects. This is something your contractor may not even offer to you, and you can show them that you have a little more sense by asking them about it and finding out what the cost is for that.
And it's all thanks to your show.
That's right, and you, John, for bringing it up. So,
well, listen, in closing on the footings and foundations here, guys, it's very important. It's very important that you realize the hydrostatic pressure in this area. If you have a house that's on a slope, that you have drains, sometimes even more drains besides the water pounding against your foundations. And what we call them is just extra drains that will go maybe 7-10 feet off the foundation. Just say you're building a house on a hill, whether it's a front or back. And what we do then is we dig down, and before we even get to the foundation, we put a perforated pipe in with some gravel. And a lot of times, something I omitted earlier, is on top, before you do backfill, is putting a filter fabric over the 3/4-inch stone, which is on top of your perimeter.
Now,
drain.
I was talking about the high technology, John, but let's go backwards. In the old days, they didn't use the filter fabric; they used salt hay. Now, what is this salt hay versus regular hay? What is salt?
Well, actually, they wouldn't use the salt. They would use the regular hay. They just the salt hay you use on the on
seeds
on seed and whatnot. And the regular hay we would use is, and what that would do is help filter the dirt, okay, away from the 3/4-inch stone. Because what happens in time, your water pressure bangs against your foundation wall. It bleeds down. Now it's bleeding through water.
Right.
Now the water, it turns mucky.
Mud.
All right. So what we
and then
what
it
we
dries
want
up and
is
it locks into the stones.
So we don't want that, and what we want to do to alleviate that, to try to keep your 3/4-inch stone clean, is put this filter fabric on to help that. And whether it's just also a simple layer, and again, it's very inexpensive to do. So make sure, and it's not required. Many towns do not require it. So these are the things, again, when we talk about better contractors and the guy giving you a bid for $80,000 and a guy giving you a bid $100,000, you're not going to get that with the low bidder.
Right, you're
So we
missing
talked about
pieces
that
to the
earlier.
puzzle,
Right,
which is
and
very
these
good.
are these are all areas that you might not know about, and these are all areas that you would get using a quality contractor.
Very good, John. That's excellent. And now I'm going to go forward, though, and before we wrap the foundation up, with the membranes. We're not going to mention specific manufacturers, but the membranes that go on the outside of the foundations.
1 minute.
We're on our 1 minute. John, just in general, do you use that at all in any projects?
Absolutely, depending on the application.
Okay, if you guys want to hear anything else about foundations or concrete work, as well as custom homes, give John Sebastian a call. John, throw your number out to the folks again.
Okay, it's John Sebastian Construction, Ramsey, New Jersey, 201-934-4055.
John is building in New York and New Jersey, so you folks up in the Warwick area, if you're interested, give him a call for custom housing. We got Earl Slick down there from the ABCs. Earl, what do you think?
Great show, guys.
Great show. Mikey?
Well, I'm always glad I show up, I'll tell you that.
That's good.
I learn a few more things every time I come here.
It's always good. And your other host over here in the corner, Lee Durario, signing off from the ABCs of Home Improvement.
See you next week, everybody.
Thanks.